At the drinking table, Eric's sworn sister was drunk and leaned against him, reminiscing about the past. You say, if we hadn't broken up back then, wouldn't our kid already be in elementary school by now? Noticing the change in my expression, she clicked her tongue and pulled Eric even closer. Sis-in-law doesn't know we used to date. You hiding it like this, don't tell me you still miss me? I cut her off with a smile. Why don't you wait until we finish the divorce procedures before he misses you? Don't go becoming the third wheel the moment someone divorces. Chapter 1. Baby. She's drunk. Don't listen to her nonsense. She just got divorced. She's not in a good mood. Eric pushed the woman off him and hurried to explain. My hand paused around the teacup. On the glass turntable, patches of greasy residue had cooled into sticky spots. Gloria, her eyes hazy with alcohol, hung herself back onto Eric's shoulder. She poked Eric's chest with her finger and giggled. What nonsense. If we hadn't split back then, our kid would already be old enough to buy soy sauce. And what's so sad about divorce, anyway? Gloria, love boldly and hate boldly. I'm not like those women who cry over love. Gloria lifted her chin slightly and looked at me. Her gaze made me uncomfortable. Just then, my daughter Sophia sent a message, asking when Eric and I would be home. I showed the chat to Eric, urging him to wrap up soon, but Gloria suddenly snatched my phone. Eric, what's wrong with your wife? No sense of manners? If you come out to have fun, then have fun. What time is it? She's already rushing you? Women are such trouble. She lowered her voice at the end, but I heard it clearly. I snatched my phone back unceremoniously. If women are trouble, then what? You're not a woman? Eric heard the impatience in my tone and immediately tried to soothe me. Baby, don't argue with a drunk. She's always like this. Never even thinks of herself as a woman. I found that funny. I brushed off the hand Eric had placed on my shoulder. Eric, you're nearly 30, not 3. If she doesn't think she's a woman, then why did she get married and have kids? Why did she date you before? What, were you and her ex-husband gay? Eric was stunned. Embarrassment showed on his face. He forced a laugh and explained to the guys at the table, saying maybe I wasn't in a good mood today. I didn't give him that opening and cut him off directly. I'm not divorced. Why would I be in a bad mood? The private room went instantly silent. I had no desire to continue watching Gloria perform her tomboyish, flirty act. I stood up to go home to my daughter, but as I reached for my bag, someone pulled me back. Gloria shoved me back into the chair, reeking of alcohol. She leaned close, her breath blowing against my ear. Sis-in-law, don't be mad. Yes, Eric and I dated, but that was all in the past. I was just being foul-mouthed today. I speak before thinking. I assumed the woman who could end up with Eric must be like us brothers, straightforward, easygoing, able to joke around. But sis-in-law, you can relax. Eric and I used to run around naked as kids, slept together when we were young. When we dated, we were just clueless, and once we realized there was no spark, we broke up immediately. So even if Eric stood naked in front of me, I wouldn't feel a single thing. Gloria bent over. From my angle, I could clearly see the view down her chest. Just like when she was hanging on Eric earlier, her heavy alcohol breath filled my nose. My stomach lurched with nausea. I gently brushed away the hand she had pressed on my shoulder. 2 cups of cold tea later, the discomfort finally settled. When I came back to myself, Gloria was already sitting on the floor. Eric helped her up, his tone unhappy. Luna, Gloria explained herself nicely. If you don't want to listen, fine. But why did you shove her? That's too disrespectful. Apologize to Gloria. Chapter 2. Gloria clicked her tongue and climbed up from the floor. Eric, your wife is way too petty. Who doesn't have a first love? She won't even let people mention it. Ugh. Unbelievable. The chorus of voices around us chimed in like buzzing flies. Sis-in-law, don't take Gloria seriously. She just has a sharp tongue. But she's not a bad person. Yeah, if she can say it so casually, that clearly means she has no feelings for Eric anymore. Times have changed. Someone pretended to scold. Eric has a family now. Not every joke is appropriate anymore. After being sugar-coated by his friends, Eric's expression became even harder to maintain. He urged me to apologize immediately. Luna, don't make everyone unhappy just because of you. Today is Gloria's divorce celebration. She's the host. What's wrong with cracking a few jokes? He reached for my sleeve, lowering his voice next to my ear. If you're angry, save it for when we're home. Don't make a scene in front of others, okay? I turned my head and looked at Eric. I was just about to respond, but was interrupted. Gloria hopped up from the floor and very naturally jumped onto Eric's back. Eric staggered but still held her firmly. Gloria tugged on Eric's ear as she teased him loudly. The two of them looked exactly like a couple flirting in a drama. Someone's gonna be kneeling on a washboard when they get home. Eric's Adam's apple bobbed, and he snapped sharply. Get down! He pushed her lightly. Eric, you pushed me? Gloria's voice suddenly quivered with a hint of sobbing. Who was it back then who said that as long as I jumped, you'd catch me for a lifetime? Eric's eyes darkened, as if remembering something. The hand that was pushing Gloria away shifted instead to support her waist. Eric looked at me apologetically. Baby, she's drunk. She's a woman, how could I shove her forcefully? Gloria instantly stopped pretending to cry and laughed into Eric's back. You really need to explain this? Eric, how did marriage make you so stiff and naggy? Let me check how soft your ears have gotten. She bit down on Eric's earlobe. The man's neck immediately flushed red. Ripples spread through his gaze. He froze for quite some time. I let out a cold laugh, cutting through their sweet little scene. Eric, why don't we finalize our divorce first? And then you two can continue? Don't let your little white moonlight become the homewrecker the moment she gets divorced. Saying that, I grabbed my bag and turned to leave. Only then did Eric realize how far he had crossed the line. He hurriedly set Gloria down from his back. He ran after me out of the private room. But before he took more than a few steps, someone rushed out from inside. Eric, do you have her stomach medicine? Gloria's old problem is acting up again. The footsteps behind me stopped. Then I heard Eric's anxious voice. I have it! When I turned back, Eric had already followed the person back into the private room. After I walked out of the elevator, I received a message from Eric. Baby, you're the only one who didn't drink tonight. Can you drive Gloria to the hospital? Chapter 3. I didn't reply. So Eric called. Luna, this is a life or death situation. Can you stop being emotional? Take Gloria to the hospital first. Whatever tantrum you want to throw afterward, I'll take it. There were voices in the background. Yeah, it's life or death. You can talk about the unpleasant stuff later. Gloria's face is pale. What if it's acute gastroenteritis? Eric's wife is really heartless. I ignored their moral coercion. I hung up directly, but Eric chased me downstairs. Just as I started the car, the door was yanked open from outside. Eric was panting, and Gloria's teeth marks were still visible on his ear. Gloria's in a lot of pain. Leave the car. We called a chauffeur. He'll be here soon. I looked at Eric with amusement. What did you just say? Luna, I'm not joking. He reached in, trying to undo my seatbelt and drag me out. I spoke calmly. Eric, all these years, the stomach medicine you always carry, was it for Gloria? Eric's hand froze mid-movement. He denied instinctively. No, the car was dim inside, but I still caught the flash of guilt in his eyes. I let out a small laugh, then suddenly raised my voice. Don't touch me. Get out! Not far away, Eric's group of buddies were helping Gloria out of the hotel lobby. Eric, are you done? Gloria's about to collapse. Eric answered. Coming! And the force he used to drag me became even stronger. Seeing Eric sweating from anxiety for Gloria made my heart clench painfully. Smack! A crisp slap echoed in the car. Eric's head snapped to the side. He pressed his tongue against his cheek, stunned, staring at me in disbelief. I opened the chat with Sophia, my eyes red. In the silence of the car, Sophia's trembling voice filled the space. Mommy, when are you and Daddy coming back? The nanny is going home soon. I'm scared being alone, woo-woo. When the voice message ended, I put my phone back in my bag. I lifted my gaze at Eric, my voice icy cold. Are you staying here to take care of your first love, or coming home with me to stay with your daughter? Choose. Luna, can you at least pick the right time to throw a tantrum? What first love? Gloria and I are just friends. And she's sick. Eric's voice was thick with irritation. I sniffed hard, doing everything I could to hold myself together. I didn't want to fight with Eric in front of outsiders. As a woman myself, I knew very well what Gloria wanted tonight. That's why I kept enduring back in the private room. But now, suddenly, I just couldn't endure anymore. The night wind was cold, chilling deeper and deeper into the heart. I turned my head and stared at Eric, anger rising like flames. What the hell does that have to do with me? I ignored Eric's hand holding onto the car window frame and yanked the door shut. Eric was startled and snatched his hand away just in time. Bang! The door slammed shut. I locked the doors, stepped on the accelerator. The car merged into the traffic flow. In the rearview mirror, I saw Eric walking toward Gloria at the hotel entrance. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. My smile looked pathetic. Chapter 4. Before tonight. I had always believed that Eric and I were each other's first love. That was what Eric had always told me. I'm not someone obsessed with first love fantasies. I can accept that Eric had dated before, but I cannot accept that he lied to me, and even less can I accept that he treated his first love as an inseparable, intimate sister. Tonight, I gave him a chance to choose. I didn't even make him choose between Gloria and me. I made him choose between Gloria and his daughter. And he chose Gloria. Seeing someone clearly turns out to be this simple. All it takes is one multiple choice question. Chapter 5. When I got home, the nanny Roxana hadn't left yet. She was counting cherry tomatoes on the balcony with Sophia. As soon as Sophia heard the door open, she ran over and threw herself into my arms, giving me a big hug. The complicated emotions I had felt before opening the door were softened by my daughter's embrace. Sophia looked toward the empty doorway, pouting. Where's Daddy? I lifted Sophia up. Daddy has something to do. He'll be home later. Sophia looked a bit upset. Then can Daddy still go with me to the flea market tomorrow to sell tomatoes? I didn't want Sophia to be sad. I didn't want her joy to turn into disappointment. Although Eric and I always agreed on Sophia's education. No lying. No hiding. Even though she's still a child, we give her the right to participate in family decisions. We treat her as a complete individual. But right now, I didn't know how to tell her what happened tonight, so I tried to brush it off vaguely. Isn't it good if Mommy goes with you? Sophia seemed to sense something. Her eyes instantly turned red. But other kids go with both their mommy and daddy. I also want. Seeing Sophia hold back tears so earnestly made my heart ache. Okay, we'll all go. Once she got the answer she wanted, Sophia held my face and kissed me several times. Then she cheered in my ear. Yay! After putting Sophia to bed, Roxana also got ready to leave. Before going, she asked with concern, Luna, did you two have a fight? I smiled and shook my head. Just a small thing. It's late. I'll walk you downstairs. All the way down, Roxana tried to comfort me. She said couples fighting is normal. If there's a problem, sit down and talk it out. Luna, don't look at me being old. I'm actually very trendy. In the CEO romance novels I've been reading lately, all the misunderstandings happen because they're too prideful to communicate. We shouldn't be those silly characters who don't know how to talk. Okay? I nodded with a smile. I know. I hailed a car for Roxana. Before getting in, she suddenly remembered something and turned back to remind me. Luna, today when I picked up Sophia from kindergarten, it seemed like she was bullied. She said there's a new kid in her class who likes to snatch her things. Ask her teacher tomorrow, okay? Don't let your little girl be wronged. Chapter 6. After watching Roxana leave, I sent a message to Sophia's teacher to ask about the situation. She replied quickly. The teacher said it was probably just minor conflicts between kids, and that when school resumed on Monday, she would mediate and resolve it. So I shouldn't worry. Okay. Thank you for the trouble. I then chatted with the teacher a little more about Sophia's recent behavior in kindergarten. The teacher praised Sophia for being an obedient and sensible child. In the end, she said she had a small favor to ask. Sophia's mother, you should be in the parents' committee group for Star Kindergarten, right? You know the rule, teachers aren't allowed to join the parent committee. The mother of the new child hasn't been added yet. How about I send you her contact, and you help add her to the group? No problem. Soon. She forwarded me a contact card. I tapped on it, ready to add the parent. But the parent's profile picture immediately caught my attention. It was a pot of succulent plants. Very ordinary. But this ordinary pot of succulents happened to look exactly the same as the one on my balcony. A strange sense of unease suddenly rose in my chest. I frowned as I typed. Teacher, I remember that Star Kindergarten has very strict admission rules, and transfer students in the middle of the year must come with a recommendation, right? Yes. That's the rule. It's also for the safety of the children. Sophia's mother. Is something wrong? I want to ask, who recommended this little girl? Elise? After sending the message, my hand holding the phone started trembling uncontrollably. My heart tightened as well. I turned off the screen and looked toward the balcony. At the same lush, green succulent plant. The succulent Eric had raised for a very, very long time. Longer than the time he had known me. A few seconds later, the phone lit up again. Elise was recommended by Sophia's father. You didn't know? Chapter 7. The next morning, I was awakened by the sound of the doorbell. I hadn't slept well the entire night. Before going to bed, I still sent Eric a message, reminding him not to forget that he had promised Sophia he would take her to sell cherry tomatoes the next day, no matter how dissatisfied I was with Eric. As Sophia's father, I would never bring my emotions into their father-daughter time. I didn't want Sophia to be affected by these trivial matters, but I hadn't left the door unlocked for Eric last night. He slept on the sofa after coming home. The doorbell rang for a while, yet no one went to open the door. It was the weekend, family day, and Roxana was off, so I got up to open it. Just as I opened my bedroom door, I heard the sound of the front door opening. Immediately after, the excited voice of a little girl. Daddy! My brows furrowed, and I headed toward the entrance. I saw Eric holding a little girl in his arms. He asked the people outside, "Why did you come?" "Of course, to thank you for saving our lives last night, and Elise hasn't stopped talking about you. So I thought we should come visit properly." The woman's voice carried a playful tone. "What? Not welcoming us?" Eric smiled lightly. "How could I not? Come on in." He stepped aside, and I saw Gloria standing at the door. Chapter 8. Today, Gloria was wearing a burgundy bodycon dress. Her glossy black curls cascaded loosely over her chest. Her whole aura radiated seductive charm. This kind of outfit really didn't look like that of a so-called bro-type female friend. After entering, Gloria glanced at the blanket on the sofa and frowned. "Don't tell me you actually slept on the sofa last night?" Eric rubbed the back of his neck with an embarrassed smile. "Got home too late, didn't want to wake Luna." Gloria clicked her tongue. TSK. Didn't want to wake her. Or was it because she didn't even leave the door unlocked for you? Eric, I'm telling you, your wife really needs some training. What kind of man lives like you do? Getting kicked out to sleep on the sofa every now and then. Good thing you and I are innocent. If it were some woman who actually wanted something from you, your dear wife would probably kick you out onto the streets. A woman needs to learn tolerance. You know? Even after marriage, you still need to be generous. After all, in social interactions, who can completely avoid dealing with the opposite sex, right? Eric remained silent. I couldn't see his expression, but his slowly straightening posture told me he had taken her words to heart. I chuckled softly and stepped out from the corner. Right, tolerance is important. Not only do I have to learn tolerance, my daughter also has to learn tolerance. Otherwise, if she finds out her father is eager to play daddy to someone else's child, who knows how she'll react? Eric stiffened. His arms tightened around Elise so abruptly he almost dropped her. He turned around, looking uneasy. Luna, can you not talk like this in front of kids? What did I say? Am I not being tolerant enough? Your first love's daughter calls you daddy on her first visit. And I didn't even object, did I? Eric opened his mouth, wanting to argue, but I cut him off. My voice stayed perfectly calm. You're right. Gloria is divorced now. And Elise doesn't have a father. One needs a husband, the other needs a dad. And you're always so eager to help, works out great for both. We'd better hurry up and get the paperwork done, so you can go take over your new family as soon as possible, for a child's sake. This was already my limit. I hadn't even cursed. Chapter 9. Gloria's expression instantly darkened. She took Elise from Eric's arms and told Elise to go play on her own. After Elise walked away, Gloria glared at me. Luna, you're a mother too. How can you say things like that in front of a child? Then she turned to Eric with reddened eyes. Eric, isn't your wife being too much? Elise is so young, what could she possibly understand? It's just a form of address. Why make such a big deal out of it? Seeing Gloria's eyes turning red, Eric immediately panicked. When he looked back at me, there was clearly dissatisfaction in his eyes. Luna, apologize to Gloria and Elise. What you said earlier really was out of line. Hearing Eric say that, a faint look of triumph flickered across Gloria's face. Just as I was about to speak, Gloria sniffed dramatically and called Elise back from the balcony. Elise, didn't Mommy tell you that you can't call your godfather Dad? You can call Eric Daddy Eric or Godfather, but you absolutely cannot call him Dad. Elise protested. But Godfather wants to be Elise's dad, and Elise likes it when Godfather is her dad. The moment Gloria heard Elise say Eric was willing to be her dad, the joy on her face was almost impossible to hide. Even so, she still pretended to scold Elise sternly. What's wrong with you? Are you not listening to Mommy anymore? Gloria's voice rose sharply. Elise's eyes instantly turned red, her lips trembling as she was about to cry. Eric rushed to pull Elise into his arms, hugging her protectively. All right, Elise, don't cry. It's just a form of address. You can call me whatever you like, okay? Then Eric even turned to soothe Gloria. You don't need to get upset with a child. It's really no big deal. Only after that did he turn back to me. Luna, let this matter end here. It's unbecoming to hold grudges against a small child. Elise wrapped her arms around Eric's neck, grinning from ear to ear. She even planted several loud kisses on his cheek, cheerfully shouting, "Yay, Godfather is the best. Elise loves Godfather the most." Then she turned to me, wiggled her eyebrows, and made a face. You bad auntie. Elise doesn't like you. My expression remained calm. I don't like you either, bad child. When she heard me call her a bad child, Elise let out a loud wail and began crying again. I simply smiled, turned around, and walked into the children's room. Sophia was still inside. I didn't want her to come out and see her father holding a classmate she disliked. But when I turned, I found a little girl standing at the children's room door, hugging her doll. Sophia blinked up at me with big eyes and asked in confusion, Mommy, why is Elise calling my daddy daddy? Chapter 10. When Eric saw Sophia, he immediately put Elise down. Gloria looked a little displeased, but she had no standing to say anything more. She only muttered under her breath, just as annoying as her mother. Then took Elise to the balcony. Eric walked toward Sophia. He bent down, wanting to pick her up. But Sophia hid behind me. Daddy, I don't like Elise. She always bullies me at school. Can you make her go? Sophia was a very well-behaved child. Under normal circumstances, she would never say something like this. But Eric's expression darkened. Sophia, who taught you to talk like that? Was it Mommy? My temper flared instantly. Eric, what do you mean by that? What do you mean I taught Sophia to say this? Do you even know how Elise bullies Sophia at school? She's barely started kindergarten and already knows how to form cliques. She hasn't even been enrolled for a full month yet, and she's already encouraging classmates not to play with Sophia. Sophia is soft-tempered, she can tolerate a lot. But she's not stupid. She can feel the way everyone treats her differently. And of course she can feel her father's favoritism. This was the first time I ever lost my temper with Eric in front of our child. Sophia hid behind me, tugging gently at the hem of my shirt. In a small voice, she said, Mommy, don't be mad. Being angry is bad for your health. I turned and smiled at her. Mommy's fine. Mommy just doesn't want Sophia to be wronged. Eric rubbed his temples. Hearing my words, he did show some genuine distress. He reached out, wanting to take my hand and Sophia's hand, but both Sophia and I avoided him. He sighed, looking at me with disappointment. Luna, I know you're upset, but Gloria and Elise are guests. Can't we talk about this after they leave? It's just a small conflict between kids. There's no need to make everyone uncomfortable. My disappointment was overwhelming. Last night, I had seriously thought about what Roxana said, that everything can be resolved through calm communication. But now, I realized it was unnecessary. There are grievances I can endure, but my daughter should not have to. I coaxed Sophia to go back to her room to get the tools for her little market stall. After the door to the children's room closed, I turned to look at Eric. My tone was filled with disappointment. Eric, let's get a divorce. I'm serious. Chapter 11. Eric looked at me in disbelief. Luna, what do you mean? He reached out to pull me closer, but my attitude was firm. Divorce. Go be Elise's dad. Sophia doesn't need a father who can't even prioritize properly. Seeing how resolute I was, Eric instantly softened. His tone softened as well. All right, honey, you can't just say things like that. You can't mention divorce every time something happens. Fine. I promise you, after today, I'll keep my distance from Gloria, okay? No. I shook off Eric's hand, turned around, and took Sophia's hand as she came out holding her little basket. When Sophia appeared, Eric quickly changed the subject. He eagerly picked Sophia up. Sophia, Daddy was wrong just now. To make it up to you, how about Daddy takes you to the balcony to pick cherry tomatoes? Sophia still liked her father after all. Her little lips were still pouting. But she didn't refuse. Holding Sophia, Eric looked at me and smiled. He mouthed silently. Don't be mad. I ignored him and went back to the bedroom to change clothes. But just as I stepped inside the room, I heard Sophia crying outside. My cherry tomatoes. Chapter 12. Elise picked all the cherry tomatoes Sophia had grown on the balcony. She even pulled the plants out by the roots, threw them on the ground, and stomped them into a mush. The floor was covered with smashed cherry tomatoes and juice. When Sophia saw the ruined plants, she broke down crying. She reached out and pushed Elise to the ground. As Elise stumbled backward, she knocked over the succulent pot on the balcony. The ceramic pot shattered everywhere. The flying shards even cut Sophia's little hand. Seeing me rush over, Sophia was utterly aggrieved. She threw herself into my arms and sobbed uncontrollably. Between sobs, she pointed at the ruined cherry tomatoes on the balcony and cried, Mommy, Elise ruined all my cherry tomatoes, woo-woo. The cherry tomatoes on the balcony were planted by Sophia herself. She had been preparing for the flea market for a very, very long time. My heart broke as I patted her back to comfort her. But Sophia was still heartbroken. Mommy, I don't like Elise. Make her leave. I don't want her to come to our home. I held Sophia in my arms and looked up at Eric. Only then did I realize, Eric wasn't even looking at Sophia. His face was dark, and his eyes were locked on the shattered succulent pot on the ground. Gloria, too, looked distressed, but distressed about the succulent. Her tears suddenly began falling one after another. She crouched down to pick up the broken pieces. This succulent, I gave it to you when I confessed to you. I never thought that even after we broke up, you would still keep it. But now it's broken. Eric, does this mean? Eric reached out to stop Gloria, eyes full of distress. Don't pick it up. You'll hurt yourself. I laughed at the scene before me. After all this time, I finally learned where the succulent came from. Chapter 13. Over the years, we had moved 3 times. Every time, Eric brought that succulent with us. Once, the movers forgot to load it, and Eric went out in the rain just to retrieve it. I once asked him who had given it to him. Who could make him care so much? Eric answered casually, just a friend. Nothing important. I've had it for so many years that I got attached to it. It'd be a waste to throw it away. Today I finally understood. He wasn't attached to the succulent. He couldn't let go of the person who gave it to him. How disgusting. Eric was worried about Gloria getting hurt. Yet he didn't even notice that Sophia's hand had been cut. Instead, he harshly scolded Sophia. Sophia, apologize to Auntie and Elise. Chapter 14. Sophia choked and explained to Eric through her sobs. Elise was the one who ruined my cherry tomatoes first. Those tomatoes were grown by Mommy and me with so much care for a long time. Daddy, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I apologize? Gloria tugged Eric's arm. Forget it, Eric. Elise and I really shouldn't have come today. She pretended she was going to take Elise and leave, but Eric stopped her. He shielded Gloria and Elise behind him, and harshly cut off Sophia's crying. Sophia, apologize. Daddy doesn't want to say it a second time. Sophia froze. Even her cries got stuck in her throat. She looked up at Eric, disbelief in her eyes, faced with her father's authority. She was on the verge of giving in, just as Sophia's lips trembled, as she was about to apologize. I pulled Sophia behind me. Eric frowned at me. Luna, this isn't protecting your child, this is spoiling her. You're going to ruin her like this. I let out a cold laugh, and slapped Eric across the face. Yes, I am spoiling her. So what? I'll spoil her even more from now on. I want Sophia to grow up surrounded by love, so she won't be fooled by a tiny bit of affection, so she won't grow up and fall for an irresponsible man like you. Eric was stunned by the slap. He froze. Gloria rushed in front of him when she saw me hit him. A moment ago she was acting like a fragile little white flower, and now she switched into a mother hen protecting her chick act. Luna, how can you hit people? Fine, don't apologize, whatever. I wasn't planning on arguing with a child anyway. After all, I'm not like you, a woman whose whole world revolves around a man. I gave a sharp, mocking laugh, then raised my hand and slapped her too. This slap was heavy and sudden, so sudden that Gloria's whole face was knocked sideways. She covered her cheek, staring at me in disbelief. My voice was furious. You're not arguing? Who do you think you are to argue? Always saying you don't need men, that you don't like hanging around women. What then? You think you're some genderless freak? You want my daughter to apologize to you? What the hell do you two think you are? You think you deserve that? If you want to debase yourself, at least know your limits. I held back for Sophia's sake. I didn't want to make a scene in front of her, but since you two have no shame, talking about the past in front of a child, then I don't mind tearing it open, and letting Sophia see exactly what disgusting garbage you both are. Eric's expression cracked completely. He still cared about his image as a father. That's enough. Luna, stop talking nonsense in front of the child. Elise ran out from behind Gloria and started hitting me with her fists. I pushed her away without showing any mercy. Elise fell into a puddle of tomato juice. Her white princess dress was stained completely red. She looked utterly pathetic. I looked down at her, cold and superior. What an ugly child. Elise let out a loud wail, even louder than before. I turned, scooped Sophia into my arms, and walked out without looking back. Sophia wiped her own tears in my embrace and clung to my shoulder. Her voice was still small and wounded. Mama, can we not have Daddy anymore, okay? Seeing the little tear-streaked face in my arms, my heart clenched. How much disappointment must a child feel to voluntarily give up on her father? I gently wiped the corner of her eye and pressed a kiss to her forehead. All right, we won't have him. That day I still took Sophia to the flea market. After treating the cuts on her hands, I drove her to the old house. Although the cherry tomatoes were gone, the old house still had many unused items we could take to the market. Those unused things included the dolls and ornaments Eric had given me when he was courting me. Sophia was still a child, but when she met her friends at the flea market, she immediately perked up, watching her call out and sell with the other kids. I felt truly relieved. It turned out my daughter was much stronger than I had imagined. At the market I ran into a former colleague. She told me she'd divorced, her husband had cheated, but she lost the lawsuit, and custody was granted to the father. Now she only saw her child on weekends. I asked why she lost in court. Sorry, I don't mean to offend. Don't laugh, but I'm facing the same problem you had. As a fellow mother, she understood my feelings and was eager to help. She said that when she first discovered her husband's infidelity, she only wanted a divorce and forgot to collect evidence. She served him with a single summons and took him straight to court. At trial, her husband stubbornly denied the affair and, instead, brought up her ongoing postpartum depression, claiming she was mentally unfit to care for the child. Plus, she'd been a full-time housewife with no steady income. The judge, weighing all those factors, awarded custody to the father. Telling me this, she wiped her eyes. She grabbed my hand and, looking through me at her former self, said, "You have to fight the fights you can actually win." I squeezed her hand back and nodded firmly. At the same time, I vowed to myself, I will only fight battles I can win. Chapter 15. After the market ended, Eric arrived. He leaned against the black Maybach, holding a bouquet of my favorite bellflowers. The back door of the car was wide open. On the seat sat a huge strawberry bear plush toy, and a full set of Elsa Princess Barbie dolls. These were Sophia's favorite two cartoon characters. He was here to make peace. "Wife, are you done being angry?" "Sophia, look what Daddy brought you. Strawberry Bear, Princess Elsa. Do you like them?" Sophia's eyes lit up when she saw the toys in the back seat. But the moment she heard Eric's voice, her smile collapsed again. "I don't want them." Then she grabbed my hand. "Mama, let's go." Eric's enthusiasm landed on empty air. Seeing us about to leave, Eric immediately grabbed my hand. Just like when we were dating, he pouted and acted spoiled at me. "Wife, I really know I was wrong. You and our daughter. Please just forgive me this once. I'm begging you." To show how sorry I am, I specially booked your favorite French restaurant tonight. You know how hard it is to get a reservation there. Don't be mad anymore, okay? I subtly pushed Eric's hand away. "Where's Gloria?" Eric waved his hand. "Send her off. If the wife and baby girl don't like someone, I'll never see her again." To show his sincerity, Eric even raised his hand as if swearing an oath, face full of earnestness. Eric, swear, if I ever interact with Gloria again, may lightning strike me. May I die a terrible death. May I get hit by a car when I step outside, choke to death when eating, or drown while drinking water. I couldn't help but laugh. Seeing me laugh, the tension on Eric's face eased a bit. Thick-skinned, he chuckled. "My wife still looks the prettiest when she smiles. Promise me, don't get mad anymore, okay?" I didn't reply, and Eric took it as silent consent. "In the future, don't say things like divorce so casually. You have no idea how terrified I was this afternoon." I stared at Eric's face, feeling bitter irony rise in my heart. Time had barely left any marks on this face, but beneath the skin, the soul had long been torn into pieces. Chapter 16. After getting into the car, I didn't sit in the passenger seat like I usually did. Instead, I sat in the back with Sophia. Eric asked if I was still angry. I smiled and said no. Eric didn't ask further and started the car. In the car, I kept my head down, looking at my phone. The avatar with the succulent plant popped up with new messages. "Luna, did you see the lipstick stain on your husband's shirt? You're smart. The first time we met last night, you already saw through my intentions. But so what? Eric and I know each other inside out. We even slept together back then. If I really want to fight you for him, do you think you'd win? Sis is advising you, don't throw tantrums like some petty little woman. Acting like that won't win a man's heart. It'll only make people feel annoyed." Right after that was a picture. Her neck was covered with kiss marks. "Let you appreciate your husband's masterpiece. He said you're boring in bed. Only he and I are the perfect match." The last one was a covering mouth laugh sticker. "Wife, what are you looking at? You look so happy." Eric's voice suddenly came from the front. I looked up and met his eyes in the rearview mirror. My tone was gentle. "Nothing. Just chatting with the kindergarten parents." The green light turned on, so Eric withdrew his gaze and restarted the car. I saved the screen recording as evidence. After saving it, I sent Gloria the audio of Eric swearing loyalty to me at the market entrance earlier. "But somehow I feel like maybe you don't know him that well. Third sister?" After sending the messages, my phone buzzed nonstop. Expressionless, I watched the screen fill with new messages. "Breaking down this easily? With that level of psychological endurance, she wants to be a side chick? Idiot." Chapter 17. After finishing the meal, I asked Eric to take a photo with me and Sophia. Of course, Eric was more than happy to do so. Right after taking the photo, I turned around and posted it on my Moments. Caption: 3 meals a day with you too. Eric was the first to like it. He thought I had completely forgiven him, but he didn't know that when I went to the restroom midway, I almost threw up my entire stomach. During the meal, there were several moments when I nearly slapped the steak onto his face. if I weren't trying to secure Sophia's custody with absolute certainty. I wouldn't want to stay with him for even one more second. When I was putting Sophia to sleep that night, the little girl was looking at me with clear disapproval. She leaned to my ear and whispered, "Mom, are you a love brain?" I couldn't help but laugh. I tapped her mischievous little forehead with my finger. Sophia let out a disdainful tsk, and continued, "The internet says love brains never have a good ending. Mom, can you please not be a love brain?" Looking at her serious little face, my heart warmed. This daughter of mine was worth every bit of love. Chapter 18. In the following days, Eric practically stayed home all the time. He started cooking for me and Sophia again, cleaning the house, and occasionally taking time to go watch movies with us. Various family activities one after another. He really looked like he was seriously trying to be a good husband and a good father. If I hadn't seen the chat logs Gloria sent me, I might have believed he was genuinely trying to change. On the third day of Eric's family man act, Gloria began sending me their chat records. "Don't rush. Wait until her suspicions fade. Then I'll come out to accompany you. By then, I'll take you to that French restaurant. I'll take you to every place I took her before. That should work, right? She seems to be in a better mood lately, even willing to go watch movies with me. Looks like we'll get to see each other soon." What did I say? Luna just has a bad temper. But deep down she still loves me. She has no parents. And if she divorces me she has no support. Saying divorce is just her way of scaring me. Trying to get my attention. I've seen through these little tricks long ago. What disgusted me the most was when Gloria asked Eric to divorce me. Eric responded, "Gloria, enough is enough. I can play around with you, joke around with you, but I will never divorce Luna." Gloria asked him why. To be honest, I wanted to know too. He already cheated. He treasured a potted succulent for 8 or 9 years. Gloria wasn't even around, and he still remembered to bring her medicine whenever she needed it. So why wouldn't he divorce me? Eric sent her a comforting sticker. "Luna has no family. Her whole heart is in this home. She keeps everything in perfect order. Can you do that?" Gloria smugly mocked me. In Eric's eyes, "You're just a free maid. The one he loves is me." I found it funny. They were both already divorced. Yet she still believed in love. After seeing Eric's response, whatever faint affection I had left completely vanished. So in his heart, I was just a free maid. So this is what the end of love looks like. Absurd. After reading Gloria's messages, I turned around and posted a picture of the heart-shaped rice balls Eric made today on Moments. There are many ways to break someone emotionally, but punching cotton, the softest hit, is the most devastating. Very soon, Eric's phone rang. The ringtone was frantic. Eric picked up the phone and went to the balcony. Through the glass door, I saw him anxiously soothing the person on the other end. This time, no matter what he said, the fire on the other side wouldn't go out. The call was ruthlessly hung up. Eric rushed in from the balcony, grabbed the coat on the hanger, and put it on. "Wife, something urgent came up at the company. The project team can't handle it. I need to go check on it." "Is that so?" I didn't even bother lifting my eyelids. Eric was frantic. He shoved his phone in front of me, showing the call log. The top record was labeled secretary. "You believe me now, right? It really is something urgent." I didn't expose him. Instead, I smiled at him gently. "I never said I don't believe you. Go ahead. Don't keep them waiting." Before I finished speaking, Eric was already rushing out of the bedroom. He dialed the secretary's number again in a panic. "Don't do anything stupid. I'll come find you right now. Be good. Wait for me at home, okay?" Chapter 19. After watching the car leave the garage, I went to the children's room. I woke Sophia up and sent her to my friend's house. Sophia stared at the 2 suitcases, confused. "Mom, where are we going?" I patted her head. Before taking the final step, I decided to ask Sophia seriously. "Sophia, if Mom and Dad get divorced, who would you choose to be with?" These days, Eric had been treating Sophia very well. Their father-daughter relationship had improved a lot. Sophia would even call him daddy on her own. So I was still a little anxious. Sophia's eyes turned red. She sniffled and looked up at me. "Daddy went to find Elisa's mom, right?" This time, I didn't hide it. I didn't lie anymore. I nodded, looking at Sophia. My heart ached, but Sophia looked at me like a tiny grown-up, worried about me instead. She reached out and grabbed my hand, her voice firm. I choose mommy. Good. Chapter 20. I called my attorney and 3 to 5 close friends when our car drove to Gloria's building. Sure enough, I saw Eric's car parked below. My friends had already prepared the recording equipment. Perhaps even the heavens were on my side. On our way up, we happened to run into a delivery guy heading to Gloria's place. One of my friends grabbed the yellow paper bag out of his hand. She ripped it open violently. Several small blue boxes fell out. The delivery guy's ears instantly turned bright red. Before he could react angrily, I explained the whole situation to him. The delivery guy was a righteous guy. He beat his chest in indignation and promised, "Don't worry, I'll make sure they open that door. My buddies are all around here. Delivery work is so boring anyway, if you don't mind. I can call them over for help." Mind? Of course not. I wanted to tear Eric and Gloria's faces off and drag them across the ground. As expected, Chinese people are the most passionate when it comes to watching drama. In no time, the hallway was packed with little yellow delivery uniforms. Every one of them looked full of righteous fury. The delivery guy pounded on the door. Soon, a hoarse male voice replied from inside. "Coming." The door opened. Eric stood there half naked, a bath towel wrapped around his waist. His chest and neck were covered in hickeys. Looked like foreplay had been very thorough. The moment he saw me, he froze completely. "Wife, why are you here?" Chapter 21. What answered Eric were countless cameras, and my loud, stinging slap. "When did your secretary start living in Gloria's house?" Eric, do you ***king want any shame at all? At home you act like the perfect husband, but the moment you turn around you sneak off to your girl brother to fool around. How can you be this damn disgusting? Do you know what day it is today? Today is Sophia's birthday. You forgot your own daughter's birthday, but didn't forget to rush over here to sleep with your ex-girlfriend. You're really not human. Eric tried to reach for me. "Baby, let me explain." Before he could finish, the enthusiastic delivery guy shoved him aside. Several delivery boys stepped between us, forming a solid yellow wall. Inside the apartment, Gloria heard the noise and called out coquettishly toward the door. "Eric, why does it take so long to get a delivery? Hurry up and come back, otherwise we'll have to start all over again." I sneered and kicked open the bedroom door. Before Gloria could react, I yanked the blanket off her. My friend, holding a camera, shot the screaming woman on the bed nonstop. Gloria desperately covered her face. I grabbed her hair from behind. The pain forced her to release her hands from her face and instead protect her scalp. Gloria broke down and screamed for Eric. She wanted him to save her, but Eric was already stripped by the delivery guys, his towel yanked to the ground. Nothing underneath. Neighbors, hearing the commotion of someone catching a homewrecker, came out to watch. Eric loved saving face more than anything. Now, naked, the only dignity he could cling to was crouching in the corner, head buried in his arms, refusing to move even when people pulled and kicked him. Soon I dragged Gloria out of the bedroom too. The two of them crouched there naked together, holding their heads, as pathetic as dogs. Chapter 22. Eric's parents rushed over. The moment his father saw Eric like that, he nearly had a heart attack. Eric's mother, a divorce lawyer, understood better than anyone what the outcome would be. She cried as she beat him. "Eric, how could you be so stupid?" Eric couldn't even lift his head to face his parents. He just crouched there in silence. Eventually, things escalated to the police station. Inside the station, Eric knelt on the ground, sobbing hysterically, begging me to forgive him. He used Sophia as a shield, saying Sophia couldn't live without her father. I took out my phone, played him a recording. Eric's eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible. Sophia said yesterday that she forgave me." I sneered. "Yes, Sophia was almost ready to forgive you. And what did you do after that?" "Eric, there's a question I've always wanted to ask you." Eric looked up at me with red eyes. I said, "If in the future, Sophia meets a man exactly like you, what would you do?" That sentence was the final straw crushing Eric. Shame washed over him. He bowed his head, voice trembling. "Okay, I agree to the divorce. Chapter 23. On the day we got the divorce certificate, Sophia used her own pocket money to buy me a bouquet of bellflowers. Like a little adult, she smiled and told me, "Mommy, I'll protect you from now on." Eric rubbed his hands nervously, wanting to say something to Sophia, but just as he opened his mouth, Sophia grabbed my hand and turned to walk down the steps. Eric gathered his courage and called after her, "Sophia, can you call me Dad one more time?" Sophia stopped, looked back at him. "Uncle, Elise is your daughter." The moment the words left her lips, Eric almost lost his balance. Sophia and I had no intention of helping him. We quickly went down the steps, got in the car, left, without ever looking back. Chapter 24. After leaving the Civil Affairs Bureau that day, I never saw Eric again. When I sent Sophia to kindergarten, the teacher said Elise had been asked to withdraw because the incident that day caused far too big a stir. City A isn't that big. Soon the entire parents' committee was talking about it. Everyone boycotted letting a student like Elise in. In the end, the kindergarten chose to ask Elise to leave. The teacher also said Elise's biological father was the one who handled the withdrawal. After completing the paperwork, he forcefully carried her into the car. Not long after the car drove away, Gloria arrived. She rushed around the kindergarten like a madwoman, searching for her child. When she learned Elise had been taken away by her biological father, she turned and ran after the direction of the car. But after only a few steps, she was struck by a suddenly passing motorcycle and sent flying. She didn't die. She was hospitalized. Since she darted out on her own, the motorcycle driver only fulfilled basic responsibility and paid a small medical fee. Nothing more. But the remaining costs still had to be paid by Gloria herself. When her savings were gone, she began selling her house for treatment. When the house money was gone, she started a fundraiser on Waterdrop. But when people saw it was her, not only were they unwilling to donate, they reported her instead. Within 2 days, her fundraising page was forcibly shut down. Without money, she was kicked out of the hospital. She also tried asking Eric and those so-called buddies for help, but every door slammed in her face. Some even made fun of her by posting screenshots of her begging for money in their moments. These were all sent to me by mutual acquaintances who enjoyed watching the drama. What happened after that? We no longer knew. Chapter 25. The next time I heard news about Eric, it was the news of his death. The scandal from that night had devastated him completely. After that day, he could never get it up again. He tried to date, but the moment people heard who he was, they'd dump coffee and walk away. His company also couldn't suppress the public backlash, and investors began withdrawing. When funds ran dry, salaries at the factory couldn't be paid. Workers went on strike. The contracts couldn't be fulfilled either. Breach penalties and lawsuits came one after another. Employees started resigning en masse. Some creditors even printed the humiliating photos of Eric from that night and plastered them all over the company gates to demand payment. Soon, Eric became terrified of seeing people. If someone looked at him on the street, he assumed they were talking about him. He stopped going out entirely, left all the mess for his parents to handle. But after the divorce, I had taken almost all the savings and property. All Eric had left was a company drowning in debt. His life was a complete disaster already, but he no longer wanted to do anything. He locked himself up, drinking every day, numbing himself. Eventually, even his parents didn't want to deal with him anymore. So the first person to discover his fall from the building wasn't them. It was a sanitation worker. The worker was horrified, calling it bad luck. When I received the news, I was watering cherry tomatoes with Sophia. A new flea market event was coming soon. Sophia still wanted to sell cherry tomatoes this time. I stared absent-mindedly at the tomato blossoms. Sophia tugged my sleeve. "Mommy, what are you thinking about?" I came back to my senses and squeezed her rosy little cheeks. Mommy was thinking, how amazing my Sophia is.